welcome to Focus on the Community. I'm Kendra Bergenski, and with me today is Pam Mashing of the Siouxland Community Blood Bank. How are you today?
I am great. Thanks for having me.
Good. We're glad to have you. I understand that we are talking about the summer program that you guys are running this year.
Absolutely. We have got a great program called our Heroes Unite program, and it runs all summer long, started May 1st and runs through September 30th. And really it's a competition to ask all of our fire, our rescue, and our EMS workers to help encourage people to become volunteer blood donors and prepare the community blood supply.
Well, that's actually a really good thing, because those are the people who are responding to our calls for help and would be at those places. So it seems fitting that they would be the lead in this.
Absolutely. There's a lot of personal injuries that take place throughout our territory, and they do get to see a lot of this firsthand. And of course, having volunteer blood donors available and providing those resources so that when patients come into area hospitals, the resources can be available for them at a moment's notice.
Well, that's good. Now, how does this program work exactly? I mean, I know that there's sort of a competition that goes on.
You know, the main focus of this is to ask everybody to become volunteer blood donors, because that's the only way that we have blood products available. And, you know, the caveat here is that everybody can be probably a blood donor, but who can actually donate? So we want to get these people to ask their friends, their family, their neighbors to start donating. But there is a competition twist to it. We ask everybody to register in their community name, and the community that registers the most donors in comparison to their squad size is actually going to win a prize that has been donated. And it's a cash prize that's going to be given back to the community so that they can buy our fire and rescue equipment. So it's a great opportunity. It's a win-win, if you will.
Well, I can't imagine that the guys and girls that work in those situations are competitive at all. I can't imagine that anything gets going between firehouses and police offices.
You know, it's been kind of cute, because there's been some communities that have literally wanted to go down and take down the posters and put the other communities' posters up so that they can get credit for those donors that would come in. So they have some playful fun with it. But all in all seriousness, we need to ensure that we've got 1,500 donors donating every single week. So we have a viable community blood supply for anyone that may need it.
Well, and that 1,500 is sort of the average number. It's to make sure that all need is met, but I know in the summertime and near holidays like Memorial Day is coming up, that those are times that there's actually a need for more.
There really is, because you know, you have a lot of activities that are beyond the scope of what people do on a day-to-day basis. You know, we have the boating areas, we have farm machinery that's out and about right now. Those types of accidents and injuries that can happen can use a large amount of blood products in a very short period of time. So being prepared for that is vitally important, especially knowing that we've got 3 major summer holidays that come up, and most of the time that's when we see a lot of accidents and injuries.
Well, there's a lot more people on the road doing things they wouldn't normally do, as you said, boating and things like that. So it would make sense that there's actually more danger for us than...
Yeah, the potential is there, and the schedules for our regular donors, they're so busy with activities. I can only attest of it, you know, with my own schedule and kids and things that are going on with businesses. Not everybody can come out and donate, so we just need to really work hard together to prepare the community blood supply so it can be ready. Because there's 36 area hospitals that we actually service in Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota, and making sure that there's an ample supply there at all times is vitally important for everybody.
Right. Well, and part of the problem is that the blood is not something that you can just put in the fridge and keep forever. I mean, there is an expiration.
Absolutely, and you can't go down to your local convenience store and ask for a 6-pack to go. I mean, it's one of those things that you got to prepare for, and that's why volunteer blood donors really become a vital resource for us. And many people have never donated blood before, so they just believe those resources are going to be available when they need them. So that's why we're out asking people that are at least 17 years of age, general good health, and haven't donated blood in the past 56 days to think about becoming a volunteer blood donor. All they got to bring is a photo ID and a list of medications that they're currently taking, and give us about 60 minutes of time, and our staff will help them go through the process to actually give that blood donation.
Right. Now, I think it's always sort of amusing, because everybody knows we should, and people, but everybody's got these crazy excuses for, oh, I can't do that, or I can't get there, or I don't do that.
I call that excuse-itis, because there are a lot of them. I've heard, well, I'm scared of needles, or, you know, you wouldn't want my blood because I've had this, or I've got diabetes, or I've got, you know, high blood pressure, I take this medication. But, you know, you'd be surprised. Most of those situations are still allowing that donor to be eligible. We just need to know about them and evaluate each and everybody's individual situations.
Well, because for the most part, those medications, for example, people take, they sort of work their way out of the body, and they're not going to harm anybody if they do take.
We follow Food and Drug Administration guidelines, and so there's certain regulations that we must follow, and medications become part of that. And we have a medical director that also evaluates each and every medication that any donor would come in with and say that this is what they're taking and why. And it will be evaluated to ensure that A, it's going to be safe for the donor to donate blood on that medication, and B, that the blood that they're going to be donating it's going to be safe for someone to receive. So it's kind of twofold. But 60% of us are actually medically eligible to donate. You know, only 5% of us donate one time in a calendar year. So that shows how much work we really need to do within our community to ask people to become volunteer blood donors.
Well, and my guess would be, and maybe this is incorrect, but my guess would be that a lot of those donors are because the bus comes to where they work, and so they're sort of compelled to do it.
Convenience. Convenience is really key. And that's one of the reasons that we have 6 mobile units that go out every single day to different communities, to different businesses, to different schools, to different colleges, different community groups to actually host blood drives and encourage their groups to and their participants to come in and donate blood.
Right, and those are, every time I've seen one, you know, where I work or anywhere, it seems like there's a pretty big stream of people in and out, and it doesn't take that long to do, but... It
really doesn't, and probably 85% of our blood collections in the Siouxland region actually comes from our mobile units. We do have a collection site right here in Sioux City at 1019 Jones, and that's open Monday through Friday, and does have Saturday hours as well. But most of our collections do come from our mobile locations.
So there are people that come in to the Jones Street location and...
Absolutely, and we encourage them to make appointments, especially if you've got access to a computer and an internet, that you can get to the website at siouxlandbloodbank.org. You can actually schedule yourself an appointment time, and it will populate right onto your Outlook calendar and send you a reminder email.
So that isn't technology convenient?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about convenience for the donor, and you know, what does modern technology provide us so that we can do those encouragements and get people to be donating on a regular basis? Because regular blood donations are what are going to make an ample community blood supply.
Now, I remember reading a news story now, maybe within the last year, where there was a gentleman who had donated something like, I'm not even sure what the number, gallons of blood over the years. And
well, it's funny you should say that, because coming up in June, we are actually going to be recognizing our gallon milestone donors that have reached those milestones in 2006 and part of 2007. And we have a donor that's going to be reaching 45 gallons.
Wow.
They have been in to visit us many, many times. Many of their blood donations are made by whole blood, but they've also are a platelet donor, and they can donate up to 28 times in a calendar year. So it just depends on, you know, the types of donations that people are making, but that's a lot of visits to come in and share of yourself to help benefit someone else that you don't even know. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Well, and I think, again, it's one of those things, like you mentioned it before, but you know, we all know that the people are here to help us and to save us, and the firefighters and the doctors and the police officers, but we don't necessarily recognize where things like blood donations come from. And
absolutely. We take a lot of that for granted, and I think that, you know, many of us that have procedures in the hospital, we just believe that those resources are always going to be available. You know, you're going to be able to go to the laboratory and get that blood product and be able to give it to your patient, and many medical professionals believe that too, because they don't really look at that process that's behind the scenes, you know, where it comes with all those volunteers that coordinate the blood drives, that call the donors and set up the appointments. They make the homemade goodies so that they can have afterwards. That's some of the best
parts. Cookies and juice.
Yeah, cookies and juice. You know, but I think everybody works together, and not everybody's a blood donor, but everyone can recruit people to help support the community blood supply.
Well, that was just one of the things as I was going to ask you, is that many of the organizations that come on the show actually have a need for volunteers, you know, other than just donating the blood. Do you have need for somebody to come help you do things?
Absolutely. We have got clerical needs. We have abilities to make phone calls out in the communities or the community groups. People that want to host a blood drive, if they're interested, they've got a group that would like to sponsor a blood drive and host a blood drive. We also have financial needs as well. Being a not-for-profit, we have fundraising needs as well, and I don't think people realize the technology that we need to purchase so that we can provide the best possible blood supply to our community.
Right, and even if you have the most up-to-date equipment, sooner or later things get outdated. things
right.
don't work anymore, we need to replace them, and that generally is not a real cheap thing to do.
It never is. And you know, we are a standalone community blood bank. You know, the only way that we recoup any type of operating cost is when a unit of blood is transfused to a patient, and then we recoup the cost back of what it took for us to actually provide that resource. So I don't think, you know, people really realize how we all operate.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that people just, again, just sort of assume that things will be there. And well, I was also going to ask, is there any particular need for blood in the community? I mean, in terms of types, which are more...
There are 8 blood types, and the most common blood types typically are what we always see being utilized the most, because that's the type of blood patients are going to have as well. Type O and Type A are the most common blood types. But when we have a group of patients that come in that would maybe have a more rare blood type, obviously they use a large amount in a short period of time. So ample blood supply for all blood types is necessary. So really, we are constantly asking people to come out and donate no matter what their blood type is, and to make regular blood donations. And people can donate up to 6 times in a calendar year. And some people believe regular blood donations is donating 1 time a year. So see what we can do with even increasing our frequency by 1 time would really help decrease any potential shortages that we could experience.
Yeah, I think you're right. People think they do it once and they've done their job, and
absolutely,
you know, and there's always a need for more. And I think that's the thing that we keep coming back to in this, is that you can't be prepared enough. You can't really know what's going to happen, and so it is sort of a duty that we all need to be involved with. I was also going to ask you, in terms of contact information, you know, we have the website, which you already mentioned is SiouxlandBloodBank.org. They also can call locally at 252-4208, or if they're out in the region, it's 1-800-798-4208. And our hours are Monday through Thursday, 7 to 6, and Friday is 7 to 5, and Saturday 8 to 12. So there really is a lot of opportunity to either come in and donate or find out more information about how you can help out your community blood supply. Good. Well, I'm glad that you came in today. I think that we've covered some pretty important things, but the big thing again to mention is the big summer project.
Absolutely. Preparing for the donations and ensuring that we've got the blood supply available for families, friends, and neighbors.
All right. Well, if you would like more information about the Siouxland Community Blood Bank, how you can participate in their programs, how you can donate, or your time or your finances or your blood, please give their offices a call. For more information about what's happening in the community, you know what you need to do. You need to keep tuning in. See you next time.